It's Father's Day, June 16th, 2019. And I just want to start off by saying that this video is going to be different. In honor of Father's Day, I want to speak my truth about my relationship with my dad, to honor that child me, the me that didn't have a voice. Now, for some of you, Father's Day is a wonderful celebration, as it should be. There are many amazing fathers out there that deserve to be celebrated. For others of you who've lost your father, it can be very difficult because you miss him. But for some of you, it's a reminder that the relationship with your dad isn't or wasn't so great. For me, I'm now at peace with my dad, who's crossed over. But I wasn't always at peace. In fact, I resented him and held a lot of bitterness in my heart. I grew up in an old world Italian Roman Catholic household. I was the first girl, so I should have been a nun, right? Oh well. For the first 17 years of my life, I grew up in a war zone, not on a battlefield, but inside the walls of my very own home. I wouldn't really call it a home. It was more like an insane asylum. I believe that's a more fitting word. My family and I suffered under my dad's heavy-footed command. We walked on eggshells. He was what you'd call a rageaholic. He didn't need alcohol to get violent. So instilled in me long before I can remember, fear was the fuel that ran my life. Now, I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but let's just say the abuse was enough to have the police come to our house multiple times. And at one time, I could have put my dad in jail. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But he was like a biological stranger to me. We never had any heart-to-heart talks. I wasn't daddy's little girl, and the word love was never even used. So when my dad and I had cancer at the same time, something happened that I would have never dreamed or expected. I'm not going to say it was by the grace of God we had this like horrendous disease, deadly disease at the same time, because I don't believe that disease and tragedy is in God's grace. But I will say that something truly miraculous happened. My dad, he was a young boy during the latter part of World War II, when Mussolini, the fascist dictator, was in power in Italy. My dad lived in Rome under his regime. He was 4 when Rome was bombed and invaded by the Allies. 60,000 tons of bombs were dropped and 3,000 Italian civilians were killed in the raids. My father was one of the many innocent civilians who fled to the mountains outside Rome. Food was scarce, so we ate raw wheat in the fields and lived for a time in the caves of the mountains. War changes people. How could it not? The fear, the chaos, the destruction. War not only tears down our communities, but the individual. And it's each individual that makes a community. And if the individual is sick, the community is sick, the nation is sick, the world is sick. War ripples through generations, and generation after generation are affected. My father's fear and need for control, born from war and the abandonment by his parents, affected our family, which in turn affected my life. But I was able to forgive my dad through, I'd say, a compassion not of this world. I rose above the situation and I saw our relationship from my higher self. And from this higher perspective, I understood that he was only coming from his perception of lack and fear. Now, does it make what he did to us right? No, of course not. But I can understand, which opens a door to forgiveness. And then you might ask, well, wouldn't the fact that he was abandoned by his parents have made him a better father? No, not necessarily. I mean, he was unconscious. How was he to know how to love or what real love was when he hadn't experienced it for himself? It wasn't modeled for him. And it's really hard to be what you haven't seen. His soul's light had been diminished through war and scarcity and abandonment. Ultimately, he did the best with what he knew, given the hand he was dealt. And that's what we're all doing the best we can. So from this perspective, I truly understand Jesus' words, forgive them. They know not what they do. And strange as it may be, my dad and I bonded over cancer, of all things. At the end of his life, I finally heard the words I'd been longing to hear. His last words to me were, I love you. A year after his death, I channeled my dad, now on the other side. He shared with me his regrets about the life he led here on earth, as well as what life's like on the other side when we cross. The thing I've learned most, and what I want to impart to you in this video, is that love knows no bounds. So even if your loved one has crossed, forgiveness is still possible, because the energy of forgiveness doesn't know time or space. Your loved one will know you have forgiven. My wish for you, if you carry any bitterness or anger towards someone in your heart, is just to let it go and let it be. It's not worth it, and death's a great motivator. You don't know how much time you have left, so why waste your precious energy? I'm not saying it's easy to let go, but it's damn well worth it. So on this Father's Day, I thank my dad for teaching me love, for in the absence of his love and compassion, I was then able to know love, compassion, and forgiveness for myself. And now I'm at peace. Thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you like this video, please, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, share, because it really helps. And particularly this video may help someone you know find peace too. Until next time, remember, you're the light, so let it shine.